So you've worked really, really hard to grow your business. Revenue is up, you've added more people, but the problem is you look around and you simply can't find the cash. How does this happen? I know exactly how, and today I'm going to show you the mechanics behind this through a concept I call profit islands. You see, this could be a really disorienting concept for business owners, and nobody really explains it clearly. So, we're going to do that today together. And by the end of this episode, I want you to be able to have a real grasp of not only what is happening with your cash, but how to fix it. My name is Scott Monday, and I've been running businesses in the construction and real estate sector for over 20 years. And this concept of profit islands has really helped me throughout, and I think it's going to help you too. What I like about it is it really tells me how to orchestrate the business. I'm like a conductor, right? So it tells me when to push, when to pause, when to pull. All of those things are told via this analogy that I reference as profit islands. So most business owners think growth looks like this. Revenue goes up, profit goes up. There's a few bumps along the way, but it's fairly linear and increasing pretty consistently. But that's not really how it works. You see, growth is much more like an ocean with these islands along the way, okay? And the bottom line is you cannot stay in the water between these islands. You have to reach the next island or else bad things happen. And we're going to walk through what those bad things are in this video. Every business has these natural profit peaks, right? And so let's call these profit islands. And let's say this island is $500,000 of revenue and break even, okay? And this profit island is $1 million in revenue and a 15% profit. And this island is $2 million in revenue and a 15% profit. Okay, so those are your profit islands. Let's talk a little bit about break-even island. So you get in the water when you start your business, you're paddling hard, you have that volleyball with the face on it, right? You feel like you have enough resources to get yourself to that first break-even island, right? And then you arrive at break-even island and you're doing about $500,000 of business, but the problem is you're not safe. You think you're safe, and it's a good first milestone, but you're absolutely not safe. And here's why. When you break even, there is no cash left over. That's the definition of breaking even. What does that mean? There's no cash to take care of any taxes you might have. Now, if you're not making a lot, you're not gonna have a lot of taxes, but there'll still be taxes. There's always taxes. You also don't have any funds to service debt. If you have any debt at all, those payments are paid with profit. You don't have that profit, you can't make those payments. And lastly, you don't have capital. You don't have cash for investing into the business, for operating the business. Just general operating cash is not there if you're continually just breaking even. So break even is a path to go out of business. So you're sitting on break even island and you realize that it's not sufficient, right? Because of those things. And what do? You need to put your eyes on the next island. So what do? You identify $1 million island as your next location. All right. So you get in the water and you start paddling, and you finally get to $1 million island, right? $1 million of revenue, 15% net profit. You are kicking out 150,000 a year of profit. That's great, right? That's something to be proud of. That is a huge milestone. With that $150,000, you have money to pay taxes, you have money to service debt, you have money to invest in your business. So that 150 goes quick, but at least you're hitting that 15% profit number. That is phenomenal. Be proud of yourself. But then what happens? Oh my gosh, you look across the horizon and there is the next island. It looks gorgeous. There's like cool natives there that you want to hang out with. And there's like all this better food and a better beach and all those types of things. So what do? You jump in the water, right? You jump in the water without thinking too much because you're sure $2 million island is better. What happens though? You encounter the Bermuda Triangle of business. Because here's what happened. When you jump in the water and you leave your $1 million island, a bunch of forces start acting against you from a cash perspective. So here's what those forces are. Number one, your operating profit drops, right? You were making 15% here. As you get in the water, that 15 goes down to 10, to 7, to 5, maybe even to a negative number. That's bad news. That's the Bermuda Triangle. Why is that happening? Because you're having to build your team. You're having to invest in resources, equipment, vehicles, software, whatever that might be. All of those forces are driving your operating profit down while you're in the Bermuda Triangle. Force number two, inventory is going up. Okay? As you're preparing to do that $2 million of revenue, you have to have more inventory on hand. Inventory is equivalent to a suitcase of cash sitting right there in your warehouse or on your property. So inventory goes up, that also drains your cash. Force number 3, your accounts receivable, what other people owe you, goes up. On your way from 1 million to 2 million, you start billing more, right? And if you're accrual accounting, that means your accounts receivable goes up. So at the end of a month, if your AR is $100,000, at the end of the next month, your AR is $200,000, that $100,000 is sitting in your customer's pocket. So that's your money that is sitting in another person's account, and you are in essence other people's money, right? You don't want to be other people's money, but it happens as you grow. So accounts receivable goes up, that sucks your cash as well. Force number 4, accounts payable, what you owe other people, probably goes up as well, but you can't really rely on that to harvest cash. The way your customers are using your money, you don't have quite as much power to do that with your vendors. Why? Because they'll start cutting you off. You won't get the same pricing you got before. Really bad things happen when you stop paying your suppliers. And so you can't just rely on accounts payable to help you out. And so in essence, there's some cash that goes out the window from month to month as your accounts payable goes up and you have to be paying those bills every month. So those are the 4 forces in the Bermuda Triangle that absolutely suck your cash. So the question becomes, what do we do about this? What rules can we follow to help us intelligently get from island to island? So the first rule I want you to remember is to map your destination. You don't want to set sail for an island if it's not the island you want to be on. You have to look at your numbers. You have to look at forecasting. We use this concept called thinking models within the simple numbers framework. I'll link that up in this video. But what you want to do is you want to be very certain that whatever that island is one that you can configure for a 15% profitability, okay? So you want to map that next island because maybe, here's the deal, maybe that $2 million island is not a 15% island. Maybe at 2 million, because you have to increase staff and you have to do some other things, maybe you're only able to kick out 8%. Or maybe you're even going to lose money at $2 million. And that is exactly where business owners get in trouble. They set sail for islands that are not profitable and they can never quite get there, right? What if this actually needs to be a $4 million island? You got to get from 1 to 4. And folks, that is a lot of paddling, right? You have to know that before you embark to the next island. So rule number 2 for growth, maximize your profit before setting sail. While you're sitting on $1 million island, drive to that 15% and try to even go beyond. Imagine it like this. The higher you can get the number, the more margin you have for that number to erode. It's going to erode, right? No matter how perfectly you plot out your next island, this margin is going to go down. But wouldn't you rather it go from 15% to 5% than from 5% to negative 5%, right? So you've got to increase this margin while you're sitting on the island. Harvest, harvest, harvest your cash. Then put it in the boat, then set sail for the new island. Rule number 3, if you're an entrepreneur, you want to grow this thing, simply repeat. Sit on an island, plot your next location, paddle really hard to that island, sit there, plot again. Item number 3, repeat. And the fun thing about business is you can do that as many times as you can, as many times as the market will allow, as many times as your appetite for risk will allow. And that's the cool thing about business. It's absolutely on your terms if you do it right. So this could feel really slow to you. You could say, Scott, I'll be sitting on this $1 million island for 2 years. That's too slow for me. I hear what you're saying, but this is the intelligent way to grow. And most operators that flame out because they get stuck in one of these Bermuda Triangles. You don't want to be stuck in the Bermuda Triangle. And I will admit to you this, I have been stuck in this triangle or in these voids many, many times before. In fact, a newer business that we launched 3.5 years ago was stuck in this terrible spot right about here, literally for 30 months until we got to the next island. The whole time, cash was coming out the door, cash was coming out the door, cash was coming out the door, and it really affected our overall corporation because we no longer had access to that capital. And here's the deal. Your profit islands are very unique to your business, right? No two businesses have the same financial signature. No two businesses have the same profit islands. You have to work with your team, with your CFO, with your CPA to figure out these milestones before you set sail. That's the important thing. So here's my question for you. Right now, are you on an island or are you in the water? Leave a comment for me. Let me know. I read all of them. I respond to all of them. I'd love to help you out with this concept along the way if you have any questions at all. So once again, my name is Scott Monday. This whole concept is outlined in one of my newsletters. I'll go ahead and link that up in the description to this video or in the social media bios. It comes out every Saturday. I think you'd really enjoy it. This concept of profit islands is part of an overall framework called the Monday Method that I talk about a lot in my weekly newsletter. I hope you enjoy. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks for watching.